The Khmer Rouge were basically a communist movement, and they kind of mixed both Chinese communist principles and this kind of Cambodian nationalist idealist kind of a thing, where they wanted to completely rearrange the whole society of Cambodia, turn the clock right back to the era where we're sitting here now, the Angkor temples, which was Cambodia's prime. It was, Cambodia was the most powerful kingdom in this whole area. Cambodian territory went all the way to pretty much all of Vietnam out to the coast on the east, almost all of Thailand out to some of Burma, way up high into Laos. It was just a huge area. Because they have that history though, they've sort of always feel like we should be more prominent than we are, and the Khmer Rouge's solution to all this was, if we turn the clock back to that ancient era, then we'll regain the prominence that we had. Their idea was that there was no need whatsoever for an intellectual class, for a middle class. All you had is rural people. As far as, they wanted to clear out everybody that had links to foreign influence whatsoever, anyone with education, anyone that had been connected to the previous government. And so initially they went through and just annihilated, just killed heaps and heaps of people that had any of those connections. And in fact, at that time, even just wearing glasses was enough link to the outside world to be killed. And so as far as killing fields, there are lots and lots of places around Cambodia, hundreds, that are basically mass graves, what they call killing fields, because actually a lot of them they didn't even bother covering up because they were constantly killing people every day. They take them out into the forest, tie them up, have them kneel on the side of the big pit, and then whack them on the back of the head with a hoe. They'd fall in the pit. One of the things that they did was they took over this high school building and turned it into an interrogation centre. And initially that was the place where they brought in the people who had been in the previous government, and it was kind of the place where they brought in people that they suspected of high up crimes against the revolution and all that kind of thing. So they brought them in there, they interrogated them, various forms of torture and all that kind of thing. And then they wouldn't actually normally kill them in that interrogation centre, although some people did die just as a result of the torture. And they photographed every single person that came in. They had a completely, the administration side of things was perfect. And they had this special chair that everybody sat on and had their photo taken. And initially they had just kind of simple numbers that they put on them. Later they went to sort of more complicated, where they'd put the year on, that they were in there, and then they sort of had this more systematised numbering system. And basically there's a photo of everybody who went through there, and I forget what the number is, about 10,000 or so people that went through there.
A friend of mine, she's in her 30s now, and so she was alive and she was young during the Pol Pot times, and her parents were killed. And in Australia we hear about the prison camp, the Tuol Sleng prison camp, we hear about the killing fields, and that sort of, in Australia, represents the experience that Cambodia has gone through, and we go to it as a museum, we go to it to look at something that's happened in recent history. The first time she went to the prison camp was not to look at what happened in her country, but it was to find the picture of her mother, because her family had been killed and she didn't know where they were. Her family were teachers, they were educated, and that was where they took all the educated people to this prison camp, and then where they tortured them, where they interrogated them, and they took photos and they